What's going on, YouTube gamers? Bonfire here, and today I want to talk about the Order 1886 and give you guys my unofficial review and overall impressions of the game. Now, before we dive into that, the gameplay you guys are watching is the Order 1886, and I strictly chose just a gameplay section without any cutscenes as to not really spoil anything, and I wanted you guys to see what the gameplay actually looks like so you can make a decision about this game for yourself. Now, before we dive into my opinion and overall impressions of the game, I want to talk about a few different aspects about this game, starting with gameplay. Now, the gameplay in this game is certainly a hot button topic, and I can certainly see why, because there are a lot of quick time events, there are a lot of cutscenes, but I think the real issue with the gameplay is how this game was marketed to us. Because this game was marketed to us as a third-person shooter, an action game, and though it certainly has those moments in there, it is more of an interactive story and an interactive movie than it is a third-person shooter, say like Gears of War. I felt like if they would have just came right out and said this game is going to be more of an interactive story, such as Heavy Rain or a Telltale game, then it would have been more well received by everyone. Now, the gameplay itself, well, it is okay. It doesn't do anything exceptional, doesn't do anything better than one game. It's just there and it works. With that said, there are a few things that I didn't like about the gameplay, starting with the cover system. Now, the cover system, they did address an issue of the camera that I had after I played the game at PAX Prime, but you can get out of the cover system really easily. You're not fully locked in there, and that made it a little frustrating and more difficult in the latter parts of this game. Second is this slow motion ability you have where you slow down time, like kind of like Max Payne, and you can shoot some enemies, but it's just really weird. That's the best way I can describe it, because you can't really aim specific spots on the enemies you're shooting, and it just doesn't feel right. The last thing is that you go around and you inspect a lot of items. You can move them around in your hand, and these are actual sections of the game where you're supposed to do this, and it's just really weird because it doesn't seem to have any relevance to the actual game or gameplay. So I just didn't get it. Next is the story, and I really liked the story. I thought it was dark, I thought it had some twists and turns, it had some jaw-dropping moments in my opinion, and I really liked the way they incorporated historical events and historical lore into this story to really make it a believable alternate universe. I thought that was really cool. Now, the ending, however, is a little shocking, and I can see why some people are going to hate this ending. And I'll just put it this way because I'm not going to spoil anything. They set you up for a sequel. Now, my only real problem with the story is the fact that its pacing is not very good. And I think this is because the game is broken down into chapters, and the chapters, they're not all equal in length, and some of the chapters are strictly just cutscenes, which is kind of weird. Maybe you'll tap a button here, tap a button there, but all you're doing is watching a cutscene. I just feel that the game didn't need to be broken down into as many chapters as it was, and I think that hurt the game in the long run. The other item that hurts the game's pacing is the fact that it timestamps every single scene. And I didn't understand why it had to do this. I don't need to know that it's the 17th of October 4 times. It's just weird. Lastly, I do want to touch on the game's length. Now, I played the game on hard. I did a little bit of exploring, and the game took me about 8 hours. And I see this game as about an 8 to 10 hour game. Now, I felt like the game's length was appropriate. I felt like they told the story that they came in to tell, and that it was complete. And I know not everyone's going to agree with that. However, I feel like if they would have kept going after the game's ending and added an additional 5 to 10 hours of gameplay, I felt like it would have felt drawn out. And I don't know where they would have stopped to where they could have segued nicely into a sequel the way this game's going to. Overall, I liked the game. I enjoyed it. I thought the story was cool. I loved the atmosphere. The gameplay worked. And I like those linear experiences. Now, that's not to say that this game doesn't have issues, because it certainly does. And one of those things is that you can tell the developers really focused more on the technical side of things than the actual gameplay. Because, guys, this game is drop dead gorgeous. It is the best looking game on PlayStation 4, period. The acting is phenomenal. I thought they told an awesome story, and they've really set this game up to be what could be an awesome franchise. Now, the best way I can put this is that this game reminds me a lot of the very first Gears of War, where it introduced a lot of cool concepts, a unique universe, and the first game was so-so. The game wasn't that long in a lot of people's eyes. However, I think they're setting themselves up for what could be an epic sequel, and we darn well better see a sequel because I want to know where this story is going to go. Now, does this game warrant a full $60 retail purchase? Ultimately, that's up to you, because I felt like it did, and knowing all that you know about this game, maybe watch some gameplay, you can make a decision. I know a lot of people aren't going to feel the same way I do, and that's okay. But I still enjoyed it, and overall, I am happy with my experience. So there it is, guys. That is my unofficial review and overall impressions of The Order 1886. Let me know what you guys think about the game down in the comments below. And if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know with a thumbs up on the video. And please share it with your friends. And if you're brand new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, because I got some great things coming your way. Until next time, I'm Bonfire, and I will see you online. Hey guys, don't forget about Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter, and hit that button down below.